What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another video.
Now YouTube voice.
Today, Liv and I will be talking for 24 hours straight.
As you probably know, the Fide World Cup has started. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the most exciting tournaments in every 2 years, at least in terms of format, because this is a knockout system and we don't really have a lot of those. So players play 2 classical games. If they are not decided, they move on to rapid games. If those are not decided, they move on to blitz games, and so on, all the way to Armageddon. And at the end, the loser goes home. But the last 3 players standing are qualifying for the candidates, so stakes are extremely high. Now in this video, I'm going over all the exciting moments from round 1. Currently, round 2 is happening, so we are 1 round behind. Now I got quite a few games, so I'll try to make this video quick, to the point, not over-explain, because I know I talk way too much. I'm still talking, so let's just cut to the games. See you. Alright, welcome to the games, and the first one is by the Turkish wonder kid Erdogmus. He is playing black, and he got a better position out of the opening. Now, he continues with rook e8, very logical move, develops the rook, pins the knight. And now white makes a big blunder by playing g3. And black takes advantage of this and takes advantage of white's lack of development and plays the move knight ce5. Beautiful move. D takes c5, knight takes c5. In the game, queen takes d5 happened, but queen e3 wouldn't have saved him either because of bishop g4. And now knight f3 is coming, knight d3 is coming as well. The position falls apart. So queen takes d5, bishop e6, queen e4, f5, queen e3, bishop d5. Beautiful calculation, really nice tactics. Now white sacrifices the exchange by playing king f1, bishop takes h1. He could have fought a little bit better, but he actually even blundered a checkmate by playing bishop takes f5, bishop c5, queen g5, and then queen d1. Checkmate. Beautiful game. Easy game, of course, but nice little tactics. Let's move on to the next one. Next one is by Gladura Benjamin. He is a fellow Hungarian. He is playing white, so let me flip the board. And now he has actually very good attacking chances, and he uses them and utilizes them by playing knight e4. Really nice move. Of course, black is lacking a lot of development, so he takes advantage of that. Bishop takes b2 happened, and now this was the winning move, the real winning move, because c3 happened. Beautiful move, and now he closes the diagonal back for the bishop. So now this way, both knights and the queen and the e1 rook finishes the game. Bishop takes a1, knight f6 check. Really nice one. Again, the fact that the rooks are not connected is detrimental for black. King f7, knight e5 check. What a follow-up. Queen takes e5 happened. He sacrifices the queen, but it didn't really matter because queen takes d6, queen f4, e takes f6, rook takes a1. Of course, the game continued, but Benji ended up, of course, converting this completely winning position. King f6 wouldn't have made any difference. Actually, it would have been, the game would have ended probably even faster because queen f3, king g7, queen f7, king h6, knight g4, king g5, h4, and you can probably imagine that the checkmate is inevitable. All right, beautiful game, really nice recognition by Benji. Moving on to the next one. Now, this position is by the other Turkish wonder kid, Gurel, and he is black in this position. He already has a better position, by the way. He stands a little bit better, and he plays a good move with bishop b8. And now, again, white's best move was probably something like queen c1. White is still a little bit worse here, but the game still could have continued, but instead white plays the move f3 and misses a small little tactic by bishop takes c4, b takes c4, and knight d2. Nice little double attack. Rook f2, knight takes c4. Of course, free pawn. We take those. Gurel took it as well, and of course, no surprising here, he ended up converting this winning position. Nice one. Moving on to another one. All right, now this one, there is gonna be no tactics. I just wanna, I just want to highlight this game, the surprise factor, and also just to show you guys how, how difficult this tournament really is, and the stakes are super high. Nerves, have to be controlled and handled. Here, Black has a borderline winning endgame, but at least it's an endgame that Black should never lose. But Black somehow, some way lost this game. So of course, Chigayev, very strong grandmaster, over 2600. Opponent is technically only a 23-32 player, but somehow he outplayed Chigayev, and they got to this endgame. And again, it's something that Black should never lose, but nerves are high. Of course, he understood that this is his chance, but somehow he missed it. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty here. The game continued with Rook G1, and then after King C4, Rook G3, A5, he let the king in, and now White had some very good chances. Black wasn't really able to create this super dangerous pass pawn. So that's why, for instance, F5 would have been better here to create the outside pass pawn. Takes King E8, come closer with the king, and then the outside pass pawn is quite hard to stop. So quite a big surprise here. The result in itself is not surprising, but from this position, that's a different story. All right, moving on to the next one. Now, the next one was an interesting one. Again, this is a similar game where, we get to see the nerves again, actually for both players. So White here is a 2400 player, and Black is Saleh, who's a well-known, really strong 2600 grandmaster. And in this position, White plays Rook C1. And this is a very complex position. Of course, Black is attacking on the queen side. We are attacking, or White is attacking on the king side. And now the best move would have been something like H6 to stop the attack. Instead, Saleh takes on G6, which is an extremely risky move. And now White continues with H5, awesome move. Takes, Rook C3. And now after Bishop H3, this would have been probably the best move. Black is probably in trouble. But instead, Queen G5 happens, which is a mistake. But again, it goes back and forth, because although Queen G5 was a mistake, Black also made a mistake by playing Queen E3. The best move was actually Rook takes C2. Again, I'm talking objectively. Keep in mind that, this is a elimination kind of system. So, he wanted to risk, I guess, a little bit. And so Rook C2 only leads to a draw. Takes, King F2, Queen B1, Rook C8, and then there should be a repetition here. Now, is this a good, idea to risk in the first game? Well, I don't know. I've never been in such a situation, but okay, maybe he just simply blundered. That's also another option, but it was definitely a risky move. Now, but again, it worked out for him, because White should have found and had to find Bishop takes C3, Queen takes C3, Rook H3, and actually, White is not getting checkmated, but he is up in exchange now. So, but now White made another blunder, or another mistake, and this time this was actually a blunder, because Queen H4 happened, and now Saleh found the tactical solution with Bishop takes C2, really nice, King A1, Bishop D3, and now the back rank is the big problem. So Rook E1, Rook EC8, again the back rank, because if takes, then this is a checkmate in 3. So this one was nice, Rook H8, but just simply King F7, and the king actually escapes, no problem. And king again escaped, and there was this checkmate with Queen D4, actually really nice. Rook C1, Queen D4, Rook C3, Queen takes C3, game over. So a little bit of back and forth. Again, was it nerves? Was it, risking it? I don't really know. But either way, this definitely could have gone either way. There could have been an upset here in the first round. So moving on to another one. Now this is by the French Grandmaster Lagarde. He is playing white against a 2400 player. He plays knight e5. He already has a better position due to the more active pieces. But the position is not so clear. He still has to find a way to break through, especially after a move like a5. But instead, black plays the move bishop a5, and here he finds this neat little tactic, bishop h7 check. I really like this move because after the king takes, he played knight takes f7, queen e7, queen d3 check, g6, takes, queen g3, and he has a completely winning position because the rook is just simply, working significantly better than the two minor pieces. They are very passive, and so white is basically winning here. Moving on to another one. Now, this one was played by Yinchi, the Chinese grandmaster. Let me flip the board. He has a better position already, and he plays a d5, of course, a strong move, stabilizing the centralized knight on e4. And now, okay, after, let's say, knight f1, he plays f5. He obviously has a better position, borderline winning position, but the game still continues. But instead, white plays the move h3, which was just simply a blunder. Why? Because there was this neat little tactic, knight takes c3. And h3 didn't really do anything about the problem of the back rank, because after rook takes c3, I have queen b1, knight f1, rook e1. Nice little sequence, queen d3, but takes, bishop h2, classic puzzle battle kind of position, and black wins. So white couldn't have done that. So instead he played b5, but after queen d3, his position was lost, and of course lost the game in a couple of moves. Really nice tactics by the Chinese player. Moving on to the next one. Now, this one was one of the most surprising blunders of this round, because in this position, it's a completely equal position, super fine for both players, for black as well. And also black is Flores Diego, one of the best players from Argentina. And after queen d3, if he plays rook e8, he has, again, a balanced, equal position. But instead he plays queen d6, sets up the checkmate. But of course, remember, whenever you make an active move, opponent can also make an active move. And big blunder, bishop f4, basically game over on the spot. The bishop is immune, cannot be taken because of the checkmate on h7. Queen cannot really move away because the bishop is falling on c7. Very, very big surprise. And of course, he kept on fighting, but the game basically ended here. Moving on to another one. Now, this one by Chaparinov. He's playing against a almost 2400 player. He's completely winning in this position, but the finish is neat. Queen g6, rook e7. Again, the position is already winning here for white. I just want to highlight this this nice little finish. It's important when you're winning. You have to find the most forcing way and the fastest way to end the game, right? And rook e7, mistake, another one, because knight e5. Nice little discovered idea, and it doesn't really matter what black does. The checkmate is pretty much almost inevitable. But luckily for us, for the content, and for us that we can learn from this, he misses the really nice, again, kind of like a chess.com puzzle checkmate. Queen f7, rook takes f7, knight g6 checkmate. Pretty dope, and he was a good sport by letting Ivan play out the moves, so that's cool. All right, moving on to another one, and this one is a Lalit Varmerdam game, and this is already the rapid portion of this match. And Lalit plays the move rook e7. Now, this endgame is quite complex, but it should be somewhat equal, especially after the move rook c7. But Max In this situation, probably being low on time, he plays the move a5, which is just basically a straight up blunder. Why? Because of rook takes g7, and he is getting checkmated if he captures the rook on g7. So instead, he plays queen f4, which is just as big of a blunder because now the queen, or more so the rook on f8, gets overloaded, and Lily takes advantage of it and plays rook g8. Really nice little tactics. Rook cannot take because of queen f8, but otherwise it's game over. So surprising mistake, but of course it happens. Nerves, low on time, part of the game. This is why I really like this tournament. Now moving on. Now this is of course the huge surprise of this tournament and the dark horse of this tournament, Faustino Oro, the youngest player in the World Cup. And he's playing against actually my teammate Brikic Ante. He's playing in the same team as me in the Hungarian league, and he has basically a winning position after rook c7. And Faustino makes the final mistake here by playing rook g7. Bishop f6 maybe still would have kept him in the game a little bit longer, but rook g7 didn't really help because rook takes e7, getting rid of the defender, rook takes e7, queen e5 check, rook g7, bishop b2, rook fg8, e7, and I mean, it's pretty much game over. The game ended quickly and got checkmated. So nice little game by Brikic, and it forced Faustino to win on demand in order to not get eliminated. Spoiler, he did. He actually eliminated Brikic. I'll also show you the final game of their match. Now, next one, Bartel Mateusz from Poland. Now, he made quite a few blunders, especially in the rapid and blitz portion of the match. And he didn't find his I don't know, his scoring shoes, if that's a thing. Anyway, he faces d5 in this position, which is a great move. And now this is a beautiful, actually also a position that we can learn a ton from. So black is facing a big attack here, or actually like an initiative here, and instead of retreating, black should have tried to fight for some sort of a counterplay, and there is counterplay here. So he played knight b8, which is just simply bad. Had he played b5, now the game is actually still very interesting because d takes c6, queen takes c6, the position is extremely complex. Now the knight is hanging on c4, queen is attacking on g2, so that would have been nice. And if knight takes b5, I have rook d8. And again, it's everyone's game, it's not so easy. But instead he plays knight b8, and now it's just all downhill from here. So queen c2, he plays queen g4, which is also a mistake. Of course, he wants to develop, but he can't. Rook d1, knight bd7, another mistake, bishop e2, and queen h4. Again, this is the bottom. This is the bottom. Went downhill. He reached the end and then loses because he trapped his own queen. So basically had to resign. Bad showing by Bartel. Moving on to the next one. Now here, this is the game by Supi. Supi, the Brazilian grandmaster. In this position, he is basically winning, but it's not so easy actually because the knight is pinned. So if he's not careful, he can easily lose the piece. And or white has at least some good options. And actually he makes a mistake here. He plays the move g6, which is not the best. Actually, it's not that it's not the best, it actually gives the advantage away significantly. The only move was rook takes c2, queen takes c2, and now actually a very simple solution, for instance, like knight c5 wins white wins the pawn back on h7, but it doesn't really matter because even though it's same amount of pawns, but e5 is falling or a4 is falling, something is falling, and black should win the endgame. The other way is queen a5, queen a1 checking e2, knight f4, let's say king f2 and then just simply g6, he gets to keep the pawn. So this would have been an easy solution for him, but instead he plays the move g6, and now white makes the final blunder here by playing rook d2 and just simply misses queen c5. What a nice move. So he moves out of the pin by creating a counterattack. So after rook d3, rook c1 takes. Of course, the game continued, but he also converted this winning position. But g6 was a mistake. Why? Because white had this really nice move. Let me flip the board. Now white has queen a1. Now instead of pinning the knight, now we pin the rook. So the point is that if you played this, I can take the queen, takes back, rook d2, and white is basically winning in this endgame. So queen a1, knight b2 is only move. Beautiful, absolutely fantastic move, but it's only enough for a draw. Queen takes b2, queen d1, check, and then repetition moves. Even if you go to g3, pushing it even more with king e2 is not recommended because you even lose. So either king f1 or queen g3, and black keeps the repetition going. So yeah, surprising blunders here. Next up, again, another Bartel game. This is the blitz portion right now. And after queen d7, completely fine position. Honestly, completely fine position. Balanced, it's everyone's game. But, let's say I play something like rook f2. But Bartel made it a one-man game by playing queen f3 and after knight h4. It's resignation, double attack, right? It's nerves. It's just nerves. It's not something that obviously Bartel would miss in a normal scenario, but nerves are they're just there. All right. So this is the game that I mentioned, the Brikic Faustino game. This is the last game actually. So Brikic had to win here, actually. Brikic had to win here on demand to stay in the game, and I think to fight for the Armageddon portion, but he couldn't do it because after queen g4, if he plays king f1, he still probably has a little bit of a better position because now the knights are not great, but they're still quite all right. But instead he plays f takes g5, and now here Faustino missed his chance, and he didn't play the move rook takes e2, which is a nice little tactics. Knight cannot take the rook. If queen takes, I have queen takes g3. He instead takes on g5, which is a small error. Had Ante played knight f4, he still has a better position. This could turn out to be, anything, to be honest. But instead he plays the blunder. It's a move that basically eliminates him from the tournament because now Faustino recognizes his chance. Rook takes a2, and basically Brikic resigned, but I was watching the live stream, and he lost in time as well. But of course now it's basically he loses anyway. So huge upset. It wasn't impossible to imagine that Faustino beats Brikic. Of course, Brikic has more, experience. I would say still a better player, but Faustino is a crazy talented kid. People call him the Messi of chess, and he lives up to this name so far. So good for him. All right, so we got this game in a equal position, equal material, equal endgame. Let's say white could have played rook c5, but in a rapid portion, again, even these strong players miss these moves. Nerves are high, and he plays rook a2, which is just an immediate blunder because knight c3, and it's basically game over because bishop c6, knight a2. If you don't take it, if you let's say play rook c2, I can take on e4, you take on c6, I play rook b2, pinning the bishop. That is also game over. Moving on to another one. This is Raja Ritvik versus Nogerbek. And in this position, after knight g3, the position, surprisingly, is actually equal, but white has to play the move queen c2. Just so white can play some like queen g6, or at least the move is there. King g7 is met by rook c7. White should hold this position, but instead, white blunders and plays queen b3. So this was the first rapid game, and plays queen b3, and that's a blunder. Why? Because beautiful tactics by Nogerbek. Queen takes f4. So it cannot be captured back because rook takes e1. After king f2, I have knight h1 checkmate. And after king h2, I have again knight f1, king g1, knight d2, discovered check, and wins the queen. Queen d5 check happened, king g7, and now he resigned here, which is understandable because again, the queen is still immune, cannot be captured. Why? Because takes, king h2, knight f1, king g1, and now this is how the discovered attack happens. Knight e3, beautiful move. Moving on to the game that we already checked. This one was by Erdogmus, and we've seen this one. So as you can see, quite a few games. We went over it. This is already 25 minutes. I wanted to make it quicker. I just can't. And I wasn't even talking this time. So I don't know. I know it was there were a lot of games, but still. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if I missed the game, and if I missed a beautiful moment, then feel free to comment it down below. What was the game that you think was also just as interesting, whether it was a tactical idea or a surprising opening, or just a surprising result. What did I miss, or what do you think was just as interesting or even more interesting than these ones? So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this rapid fire kind of quick little tactical rundown of the first round of the World Cup. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next video where I cover round 2 of the same tournament. Until then, take care.